All right. Hey, everyone. Hold on a second. All right, just getting this thing adjusted here. All right, Mark here, Mark P Markets. Thanks for joining me for another Bitcoin day trade setup analysis and US stock market open price action session. We're going to be looking at the major markets while at the same time trying to see if we can spot any worthwhile day trade setups on the smaller time frame. Okay, so that's why I have the split screen here, right? We have the larger time frame, the daily chart, and then we have the smaller time frame, right, where we're going to look for our setups and see if we can spot something while the market is doing its thing. Okay, so that being said, let's get this thing started. All right, so as you know, this is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, cool. So say hello to Stian and Elijah. Jeff, good to see you all. Shell, all right. Thanks for joining me, you guys. All right, so now a couple of things. Real quick, I am sponsored by 8Cap Partners. So if you are a non-US resident and you're looking for a Forex and CFD broker, they are a good choice. They are based in Australia and they are regulated. They offer a number of spread categories. So it's good if that helps if you're small, or if you're a larger trader, they have something to offer you there. Plus, if you are interested in my training program, if you open up an account with them and you deposit $500 and you trade one standard lot, you can get my training program for free. If you go that route, let me know so I could make sure everything works properly. Thing is, you have to be non-US and you cannot be from a sanctioned country. Okay, if you are, they will not open your account. All right, so just want you to know that. If you want to learn more, click on the link in the description portion of this video and you'll find out more information about that. Okay, also, if you're interested in my training program, go to markpmarkets.com. That link is in the description as well. That has all the information about my program if you want to learn how I arrive at these trade ideas. Okay, it's a less is more idea. A lot of people don't appreciate it. Okay, because if you're new, you want complexity, and I'm the opposite of that. Okay, so just so you know. People think that there's more value in more information. It's actually not in this game. It doesn't work that way. Okay, third thing I want to mention, my Discord community. If you're not in it, join it. There's a free portion area now. If you're interested in the trade signals or in the training area, you can join. There's a 7-day free trial. Okay, so you can check that out. You can see what's going on for 7 days. You know, I have a guy in the active investors room, calls a lot of options trades and a lot of more aggressive type trades. And of course, I'm looking more out for the conservative trades. We have a euro trade that's in play right now. So I'm actually going to talk about that a little bit here during this session. All right, now, really quick, also, I have to say something. I recently put out a coupon, okay, for 30% off. It was the early bird coupon, okay? Some people took advantage of that, and that's good, right? That's the whole idea. But then some people, they just got the coupon and they don't do anything, or I'm not sure what's going on with that. But the point is this: that coupon is not like a limitless thing. I'm cutting it off like next week. So if you don't use it, it's not going to be any good. Okay. And if you're going to use it for a package that's worthwhile. I have this supporter package. Okay. And it's $10, but that's not really a good choice for a 30% off coupon. The supporter package, just so you know, I put that out there for people that just kind of want to get like a little taste, but they don't want to spend any money. So, okay, $10, right? At least it's something, and it shows that you're serious. And what does that get you? Well, trade of the week, right? Which is one swing trade per week, possibly, if there's one worthwhile. And it gives you permission to chat in the analysis channel, which is free, okay? Because free people are locked. I don't let free people speak in the server. That's mostly because of spam and other herd mentality things. So free people don't have permission to speak. So as a supporter, you do. All right, anyway, so I just wanted to run that by you. If you don't have money to trade, like if you don't have money, meaning you're working with less than $10,000 or something, you're really kind of wasting your time, okay? Because you're not going to get anywhere. If you're doing that for practice and whatever, and you have very low expectations, okay. But to make significant money, I mean, enough money to like pay bills with and stuff. I mean, you need, on the average, I'm going to say you need about $20,000, okay, to do that, no matter what market you're in, okay? If you think you're going to trade $100 or $500 and you're going to grow that, you are dreaming, and you've been fooled by other people that make you think that you can grow a $500 account. It's possible, but it's going to take a very, very long time. Why? Because of the risk, okay? The magnitude of risk. You can use micro lots, or you can use some Forex brokers even allow you to determine your own position size, okay? It's completely free, which is the best choice. And that means like you're going to risk literally $2 or $3 to make like $5 or $6, literally. That's like a $500 account, okay, or a $100 account. That's what you're looking at. So please be realistic, or just don't play this game. This is not the game for you. All right, cool. So let's talk about Bitcoin here. We're going to start here with the 30-minute chart. All right, now I'm now switching to the day trade mindset. This is not the same as the swing trade mindset. Make sure you understand that these mentalities are not the same. Now, day trade, right? The day trade mindset is inappropriate for beginners. I'm showing it because this is what people want to see. This is a bad place for you to start if you're beginning. Okay, there's a lot of advanced concepts and a lot of advanced things going on here, and you're not going to have the experience. No matter what I show you, you're not going to have the experience to properly manage this or have the proper mindset when things change. Because when I'm here showing you, yeah, sure, it all makes sense. But when you're on your own and things change, you're going to be clueless, okay? And you're going to get fleeced. So I'm telling you, this is the wrong place if you're a beginner. If you're a beginner, start out on the bigger picture, start out on the academic side, and as far as putting money to work, start out as an investor or swing trader, okay? That's really where you should be starting out. Learn the concepts on the bigger picture first. The smaller picture, as glamorous as everyone makes it seem, it's a fraud, okay? They're lying to you. Stop getting sucked into action. This is the wrong thing. I have 23 years of experience, okay? And I started out as a day trader. So, I know what I'm doing, and I know how to get out of things when they're wrong. I know what to expect. You don't, all right? So anyway, just wanted to let you know that. Also, these day trade setups, I'm not taking them for real, okay? I don't actually day trade Bitcoin. I day trade the S&P, but all the things that I use on the S&P apply. So, that's why this is a valuable learning experience. But the point is this, you have to keep things realistic. As far as like day trades go and the S&P, understand that, I take the market open and I'm doing this session. I don't have to do this, okay? And I'm doing this because I want to help people, and also I'm hoping that it allows me to grow my following, and it becomes worth my time. So it's sort of like an investment of my time. I don't have to do this. I could be looking at the S&Ps right now. It's harder, yes, but that's much more worth my time if you want to talk about what my time is worth in dollars. All right. So just so you know, I'm doing this again because I'm hoping it can grow my following, and that helps me out in the bigger picture. And by the way, some people may wonder, and this is a good time to address this. Some people may wonder, if you're so good at making money in the market, then why do you even do this? I'm going to tell you why. Because risk money is hard money. It's very hard money because you're always facing a possible loss. Optimistically, we're looking at a 50% win rate most of the time. I don't care who you are, okay? A lot of people are going to lie to you about that, but the reality is 50% is the average win rate, and that's what you have to assume that you have, even for someone at my level. That's what I have to assume. So half the time I'm going to be wrong, okay? So to smooth out those losses, it helps to have some kind of passive income or some kind of other source of income coming in from the same work that you do. That's why. And then having that allows me to take more risks, okay? Because it's, it makes me a stronger hand. That's why. All right. And that's the reality. And that's why we have to do this. Fake gurus do this because they don't make any money, with their trades, and they just make all their money from this. But someone like me, I like the idea of smoothing out those losses, and it really adds a lot of confidence, even with someone who knows what they're doing like I do. I'd rather have that. So I just wanted to let you know that. I'm not going to harp on that all day, but just so you know, I want to give you a realistic picture of everything. All right. So I drew some levels on this chart while I was talking. All right. Now this is the Bitstamp chart. I'm going to use this for now. It's the spot chart. This is not the futures, but it doesn't matter. The chart is still the same. The levels are still generally going to be the same. Now, when we go to the 5-minute, though, I'm going to switch over to the perp chart. All right. So now here's the thing. The first thing we're looking for on the day trade time frame is levels, right? And then we want to get a sense of context. Now, keep something in mind, right? On the bigger picture, there's another story taking place compared to the smaller picture. Do not mix the two. Do not mix them. Okay, the smaller picture is its own thing that you do have to treat like its own thing, because momentum changes a lot intraday, and the smaller time frames are extremely random. So you may have, for whatever reason, there may be buying that's taking place, right? And you're thinking, but this market's a short. How can this be, right? And then you can get really messed up by mixing the two. So on the day trade time frame, things can be long, things can be short, things can change very quickly. Keep that in mind. Okay. Again, this is like playing the NFL over here. This is like you're an NFL quarterback and things move really fast on that field, and you have to be able to make very decisive choices very quickly. All right. So because if you hesitate, you're just gonna get fleeced. Here's the 30-minute chart. We're looking at levels. We're looking at context. Now, we have this structure from yesterday, okay, or actually previous couple of days. And this is a bullish structure, right? But when we just zoom out just a little further, we can see overall we're basically in a range-bound market. Yesterday, do you guys remember what I was talking about, right? With these ranges, right? We blew through this one. And look at the squeeze, right? That's a short squeeze over here. And we reached this one only to give it back. Okay, so that kind of gives us some idea of context. Now, as far as levels go, so that basically tells me that we are range bound. This is not a bullish, this structure is bullish, but this is not a bullish trend. Don't sit there and say, well, it's a higher low and a higher high, but you haven't taken out any of these. This is not a trend. This is a range. Okay. Now, so with that being said, I should anticipate support levels to generally hold and resistance levels to generally hold, because we're consolidating. It's not a trend. So here we are. We're selling off, right? This candle is bearish. We have a lower high, double top, lower high right here. These are 30-minute bars. Okay, so this goes back quite a number of hours. Support has been compromised, but this candle is 8 minutes before it closes. So we'll see how, actually, I'm not going to pay attention to the 30-minute close. We'll be on the 5-minute by that point, but we are at an old resistance, new support. Okay. So as a day trader, that's meaningful information, and that can lead to a long. Okay. And that long can test here. So that's the first thing I'm looking at. And if that turns into a long, that's a double bottom in a support area. So that's a decent setup situation or potential situation. Will we get that? I don't know. Again, I don't pretend to know the future. I'm looking for the market to confirm things. Anyone that tells you, oh, well, this is going to do this here and then it's going to go here, they're lying to you. Most people are lying to you, just so you know. I'm in some mood today, huh? Anyway, okay, so here's the thing. We're looking for a failed low. We're looking for a pin bar. Now, that's what may develop here, but I'm going to switch off the 30 minutes. So basically what I've developed here is my game plan, my expectations. If this closes weak and continues lower, our next support is obviously this area. Okay, we have a minor support in this area. So what is that? 618 minor support, and then we have, what is this area here? I'm sorry, hold on. 618, right? Okay, and then we have here 432, right? This area. So basically 6 1/4 and 4 1/4. I'm going to round the numbers. Don't get obsessed with specific numbers. All right, those are our supports if we continue to break. If that's the case, maybe the there'll be a bearish continuation pattern somewhere in here that I can work with if this support is compromised. Okay, so notice I'm considering both sides. I'm not sitting here saying, whoa, it's a short, well, it's a long. It could be either one. All right, so I want to figure out, what that long can look like, where it may go, and what that short can look like, and where may that go. Okay, so I have that figured out. Let's go to the 5-minute, and let's now change this to the perp chart. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the Binance chart. I don't like Binance, by the way. Okay, I don't like them. And anyway, but I'm using their perp chart. If you're working with these futures contracts, you should just use the chart from whatever exchange you're using where you're placing your trades. But the prices should basically be the same. All right, now, so we have these levels on this chart are actually from the previous perp charts that we've evaluated. I mean, notice this. Look how relevant they are. Okay, I mean, look this. I drew this line back here somewhere, and when it extends into the future, I mean, look, support. So how does that help you? Well, you should know that you shouldn't be shorting there. That's a bad place to go short. That's what that tells you. All right, you don't necessarily jump in long because the first thing, wow, it bounced right off. I'm just going to buy it when it goes there. Stop being Captain Obvious. Okay, that also could have cleared the support just as easily. Markets are random, but it's a reference area. So I know I probably shouldn't go short there. If anything, I should wait for long confirmations. So we're in the same situation right now. If anything, I should wait for long confirmations. Okay, now what's going on here on this 5-minute chart? Look at this pin bar. That's nice. Okay, we took out the high of that pin bar. What is that? 690 is the high. You have two inside bars. We just took out the high of the inside bar. So as you can see, that's a sign of buying activity. That's what buying activity looks like. You don't have to look at your order ladder. You don't have to look at your order book, which everyone thinks they imagine that they see things. It's all nonsense. Buying activities here, you could see it in the candles. You don't need to see inside the candles. Anyway, all that information is a lie anyway. It's a joke. So what to do now? I mean, this trade is basically in play here. And then that price was 690. Right now we're at 701. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to chase it, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a limit order. Okay, this is another technique. I'm going to put a limit order and I'm going to put it right here. Again, I'm not doing this with my platform. Next week, I am going to start incorporating a platform into this so we can actually see the order placement, okay, and monitor it. But right for now, on paper, the limit order is going to go here. What price is that? 682. Okay, so put that on your paper, right? Put that in your paper trade thing. 682 is a limit order to go long. All right, a limit buy. The stop is going to be at, what is this here? 642. All right, so we're going to put, so let's use round numbers to make this easy. Limit order 680, stop 630. Okay, 50-point stop, and the target obviously is going to be 100 points because we want to see if we can get 2-to-1. I mean, that would be ideal. Don't know if we're going to get it, but that's what we're looking for ideally. So again, 680 is the limit order price. Okay, I'm going to put the line there. 680 is right here. Okay, is that right? Here, let me put that line again. Hold on, 680. That's 680, right? So that's where the limit order will be. My stop is going to be, basically at the 630 low, right? What is this low here? The low is 642. I'm actually giving it a little more room. 630 low, all right? And then the target's going to be 100 points higher. That's going to basically be 780, right? Where's 780? 780 is all the way up here, okay? That's 780. That's where I need the market to go, really. That would be an ideal spot. This thing may turn much sooner than that, and I'm prepared for that. So as a day trader, again, I set a target. That's basically also like a reference point. It may not go there, and I have to accept that. It may turn earlier, and I may have to get out earlier. If you're one of these people, you're indecisive, and well, I'm going to give it a chance because I want to make 2-to-1. All you're doing is asking for trouble. That is if the market throws a complete, I'm turning in your face and you ignore it. Okay, so I'm just letting you know. All right, so that's the target. So the day trade is set up. The idea is set up. All right, and that's that. So we're going to watch this thing. All right. And I have to keep, I can't do an hour today. All right. So I'm going to have to cut it a little short. I wanted to spend more of the time on the day trade because that's what people are more interested in. I think, even though it's the wrong information for you, it's the wrong way to go. But you want to see it. Okay. So now, while with that being said, let's just keep an eye on that price, 688. Remember, 680 is the level. Okay. Now let's move along here and let's go to Bitcoin. We're going to go to the bigger picture. Now I'm going to get off this. This is a mess over here, and I'm not going to erase all those lines. Okay, so let's just go to Coinbase. Okay, we'll just go to the Coinbase chart because it's clean. Now here's the thing. So let's talk about this on the bigger picture. All that FTX stuff. I mean, man, on YouTube, you go on there, there's so much stuff just coming out. I mean, everyone's got to get in on it. I understand, but man, there's so much interesting information just as far as the fraud. Anyway, that's all that stuff is bad generally for the industry, and that means that there's not going to be a whole lot of optimism here. So any rally is going to be highly suspect. Number one, that's basically what that means. Okay, look, this is turning into a sell signal, but I'm still, even though there's a sell signal developing here, that's a sell signal in play. I'm going to take this limit order long. All right, where are we? Are we in this thing yet? Let's see. Yeah, 680. All right, so let it go a tick below. All right, 77. This is long now. Okay, that's a limit order. Now I'm going to explain the idea behind the limit order in a moment. Hopefully this thing doesn't get stopped out. It may go straight to the stop. And that's one of the risks you take when you use a limit order like that. Normally I use a stop to enter. Okay, and that stop would have been up at this high. But this is another story. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Let this thing play out. What time is it? It's 10 o'clock. Okay, so we'll see how this candle closes over the next 5 minutes. It may go straight to the stop. Keep that in mind. But I'll explain the rationale behind the limit order. So this situation on Bitcoin, right, on the bigger picture. So right off the bat, there's a lot of bearish sentiment that's baked into this thing, and that sentiment may continue. So longs are generally a bad idea. Okay, if you're going to go long on the bigger picture, this is not the place to do it. These levels, if you're going to do it, at least wait for at least a minor support, at least. All right, which is that low there. What is that? 15,790. So at least that. But if that breaks, you're looking at like 14K. You're looking at possibly 12K. All right, so keep that in mind. This thing may go straight to the stop. Where are we at right now? 655. All right, well, I'm eyeing that thing. It may go straight to the stop. And one of the risks, like I said, behind using a straight limit order like that. But you need to see this. So again, as far as the bigger picture goes, you should wait. Buy signals should be ignored unless you're in this area here, and it's still high risk. Okay, it's still aggressive. Okay, keep that in mind because you're fighting the bigger picture. You're fighting a lot of bearish sentiment. Now, as far as shorts go, all right, this thing actually generated a sell signal at 630. I think the price was. What's the low here? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, not 630. 16,300. Okay, that was the level. This thing is going to get tapped out, I think. Where are we? 650. All right, give it a chance. We still have 20 more points. Okay, so this was actually generated a sell signal, and then it started to fool around a bit, right? Because it broke the 16,300. The sell signal is risky here because you may be confused and say, but you just said everything is a short, bearish, blah, blah, blah. Right, but it doesn't mean that markets won't be irrational and that they can't squeeze, okay? Because the problem with this area is everyone is thinking short, and everyone's going to pile in saying, oh, short is a sure thing. That's probably what you're going to hear, and that does make sense in light of all this information and other negative news that can come out as a result of the FTX situation. But it's a high risk area because if any positive news comes out, this thing's going to go vertical because the whole world is taking the Captain Obvious short. You have to be aware of that. Now, by it going vertical doesn't mean it's turning into a bull market. Okay, this thing is stopped out. Well, look at that. See, 630 out. So now let that thing do its thing. I'm going to explain the limit order and what that limit order choice was all about. But if you notice, before that limit order, right, I said that this was a sell signal developing. So I let that limit order get filled in the face of a sell signal. So we'll talk about that first. So let me get through some of these bigger, larger time frame charts. But that's a loss right there. Okay, lost 50 points. That's day trades. That's what happens. That's why I tell you guys do this on paper, because this thing we can easily generate losses. A lot of times I may have to take a loss or two before I catch the winner. Okay, that's the way it is. And sometimes that winner, the best it does is breaks me even, and then I turn my platform off. I don't continue to fight the market. All right. So anyway, so that's the Bitcoin situation. It's a tough spot for longs or shorts. Now the short side is going to be aggressive on this thing, right? If you take that short and it works out, great. Just keep in mind the risk of retrace is very high. Okay, just please keep that in mind. That's all I'm saying, which means you have to babysit this thing. And if it starts to go the wrong way, you should probably get out and not take a 2,000 point loss. Now, the conservative short would be around 18K. So if it can squeeze everyone out and turns and gives you a sell signal up in this area, that's the ideal spot for a swing trade short. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Let's move over to the bond market. Let me know if you guys have any questions on that. So here's the bond market. So again, the bond market takes forever. Okay, it takes forever to show us anything of actionable value. And look, we got that little fake out situation that I described yesterday. It actually generated a sell signal barely, and it's not really doing anything. So okay, no problem. This bond market really, we're just at a range high, and it can pull back into the midpoint of the range, which means rates may be consolidating. I don't know. We'll let the bond market answer that question. But right now, I cannot jump to any conclusions. All I know is resistance is still respected, which points to a test of low. That's all it means. Okay. Don't know if we'll get the test of low, but if we do, it's going to be bearish for everything. All right. And now that also reminds me, this coming week, we're going into holiday mode. And normally, when things are usually very optimistic and blah, 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 and we're in a bull market, usually this coming week, you'll see markets like the stock market just slow grind the whole day, bullish. Don't expect that this time. And the reason is we don't have all that nice stuff that we had a year ago, right? With the low rate environment and the Fed not saying anything about interest rates and all that other stuff. So yeah, sure, everyone was happy, everyone was blah, blah, blah. Be careful with that. In fact, next week would probably be a good time to take the week off as far as real trades go. I probably will not put on any real trades next week at all. Okay. Anyway, so I just wanted to point that out. That's a function of volume and the context of the general environment. Now let's jump over to the NASDAQ. Okay. Look, same story with the bonds. Right. So while we take a look at that, I just want to see where Bitcoin is settling here. If it's settling, I want to see if this is going to fake everyone out the other way, or I mean, we blew right through that. I mean, that was a support and it blew right through it. Okay, so let's let that settle. Time is it? All right, we have a couple of minutes before that candle closes, so nothing to do right now. I do want to explain that limit order. All right, but anyway, let's go. I'm going to go over the bond market. I'm sorry, NASDAQ, dollar, and euro, and then we'll jump back to that Bitcoin situation. So, like I warned people with the NASDAQ, right? Came off of this failed high area. Yesterday, it tried to rally. I mean, look at the pin bar, right? Look at yesterday's pin bar. In fact, it took out the high of that pin bar. And that's actually a buy signal. But this is not a location for a buy signal. Okay, so I would completely ignore it. Again, so people that obsess with just signals and confirmations, again, you're looking at the wrong information. You have to look at that in context of location. All right. So again, this thing, I would not trust this thing long at all. So shorts, or use options to get short, or avoid. Simplest thing to do, avoid. Especially if you don't understand the short side or you don't know how to control risk, stocks are not usually the best things to short. You want to short the index, if anything. So I'm targeting this area. I'm not short the NASDAQ or anything like that, but that's the area I'd be looking for. Or otherwise look for the midpoint if you want to be more aggressive on the long side. But like I said, no, there's not too many reasons to be overly optimistic right now. So keep that in mind. Nothing really to talk about in the NASDAQ. People that are getting long stocks, you're doing so at not such a great price, not such a great area. Let's take a look at the dollar index real quick. Okay, so look, dollar index. Dollar index is trying to put that little bullish move together in a location where a bullish move is highly probable, right? I've been watching this. I'm short the euro again. All right, I put the trade out the other day. Look at this. In fact, this situation on the euro was kind of like what I was expecting here on that Bitcoin day trade. Something similar to that, right? Because there was a pin bar in place and then price was fooling around and blah, blah, blah. But this dollar situation, all right, after that pin bar, we had a couple of inside bars in a supportive location, and then we have a buy signal in play. And as you can see, it's not selling off. Okay, so this location is very important. We looked at this on the weekly chart, and basically this is just a pullback of a broader bullish trend. So if that's a pullback, theoretically, it's a place to buy. Okay, so a dollar rally is highly probable. Now, how far can it go? I'm looking at that area. That's the first really pain point. That's the first resistance in the dollar. I'm not anticipating a new high, although anything is possible. This thing may rally up a bit, pull back, form a higher low, and then work its way higher. That can take weeks to play out, but that's a possibility. Okay, here we go again with this Bitcoin. So here's what I'm going to do. That's an inside bar. I'm going to try this. All right, so we're going to go long 647. Okay, so long 650. I'm going to put a line there. Okay, long 650. Stop is going to have to go 6 even. All right, so again, another 50 points. Let me erase some of these lines. Okay, so I mean, 50-point risk on Bitcoin for day trades, that's not bad, actually. You know, I remember like when I used to experiment with this stuff a lot on Bitcoin in particular, and I remember you were risking at least 100 to 150 points intraday, at least on a regular basis. Okay, 50 points is not horrible. All right, so we're going to see how this one goes. Is this in play? Let's see, 647. 649. Oh, this is not exactly. All right, just to be fair, we're going to say it's in play. We're going to say long from 650, even though it never actually touched 650. We're going to say long 650. Okay, right now. So it's against us. But let's see how this goes. So basically 50 points, and then we're looking for, what was that? The high there, 650. So we're looking, I'm sorry, hold on. The price there is, yeah, 650. So 750. 750 is going to have to be the target. Man, that's way up here. Okay, 750 is way up here. So we need this thing to rally all the way up there, okay, to justify the risk. Now you would say, but you're taking these counter trend trades. Well, yeah, I am, but I'm going to explain that here in a second. Okay, and again, this is on paper, so it's not real. All right, we're doing this for educational purposes, so you can see the outcomes, and then I can explain things to you. All right, a couple more minutes. I want to see how that plays out. So we're going to say long from 650, stop at 6 even. Okay, target 750. That's the next day trade. All right, now again, don't take it for real. All right, now so back to the dollar index. So you see that dollar index situation, right? Does that make sense as far as a long goes? So even if we don't make the new high, if we can test this area here, that's a 200 pip move on the euro. Okay, short, and that's why I am short the euro. Let's take a look at the euro. So I called this the other day. This I am short. Okay, the euro I do trade, and it's a swing trade. So I called the idea based on, it started with the pin bar. Okay, just like the dollar, it started with this. Okay, that's where the short began. That's when the idea began. We took out, we started to push right these supports, these levels, right, these lows, right. Now 330 was the entry. When I put that trade out there, it was at 103.70. Okay, so it had some room to go. It took out the 330, went a little bit lower, and then of course turned the other way. But that's noise. Okay, my stop is way up here, so it's got a long way to go. So as far as that euro goes, if the dollar pulls back, if the dollar rallies as I'm anticipating, I'm looking for that. This coincides with that dollar resistance right here, that support. Okay, this support is 10093. It's basically the 101 even area. That's what that is. All right, and that's the area I'm targeting. So that's again worth about 200 pips, maybe a little bit less. So that's the euro trade idea. I just laid it out for you. Now, Stian asked, is it worthwhile to day trade the euro? Let's take a look at the euro. Now, day trade, trying to day trade Forex is usually a bad idea. Okay. And the reason for that is you can't beat the spreads. That's why. I mean, we can look at this after the fact and we can be like, oh, look, it went here, it went there. If you're going to trade the euro, I mean, euro would probably be a better choice because it's a thicker currency and the spreads tend to be smaller in general. If you're going to do the euro, you have to do it around the Euro Open, not the US session. You have to do it around the 3 a.m., 4 a.m. US time, the Euro Open. That's when volume is the greatest in this thing. You can day trade it. It's reasonable, but you're only looking for like maybe 20, 30 pips, maybe, but that's going to take a while. I memean, look, this is a nice move, but what time was this? This is the 5-minute chart. So this thing went from 103.77 to 103.20. Oh, it's 50 pips. Okay, so that's not bad. You have to wait about an hour, right, for that to take place. That's not bad, but that's not the norm. Okay, we tend to only look at the bigger moves. Oh, look, I could have made that, right? But you have to look at these little moves. That's typically what you're dealing with. You see this? You see this nonsense? You got to sit through all this. This is nonsense, and it sucks. Okay, so that's why I'm not a big fan. I'd rather swing trade these things. So you can, but keep in mind when you day trade something like the euro, there's no way around unless you go to the euro futures, which you can. That's another alternative. That's you're no longer paying spreads in that area because you're dealing with an actual futures contract. But when you're working with the spot, you're dealing with spreads. Okay, but it's a small spread. The spreads make the game almost impossible. Okay, that's why you have to, you can't work with, it's very hard to work with on a 5-minute chart. You're better off working on a larger time frame so that the spreads become much less of a obstacle. Okay, you have to understand when you're dealing with Forex, you're dealing against your broker. Okay, it's a conflict of interest and they're on the other side of your trade. So when you lose, they win. They don't want you to win. Okay, and this is especially true for unregulated brokers because they're just pocketing all those losses, and that's why they make so much money. Understand that. So things are going to work on their platform always in their favor. Oh, I wonder why. So please keep that in mind. You can't beat those spreads, make the game almost impossible. All right. So if you knew about microstructure and all that other stuff, not you, Steve, but generally, if people understood that whole microstructure situation and the probabilities, when you include the costs, they would realize, wow, day trading is a waste of time in the Forex market. Yeah, it is most of the time. Unless, again, there are ways around that. But if you're starting out and you're brand new, don't do it. That's my suggestion. Swing trade. That's much more appropriate and I think easier on the swing trade. If you're going to day trade stuff, stick to like futures contracts. Okay. Anyway, all right. So that's the euro question. Let me see. Do I have any other questions here? What about pound? Okay. Oh, no problem, Alex. Pound. All right. I'll take a look at the pound real quick. Let's take a look at the pound. No, the pound has been ridiculous. Okay. The pound it's always been a wild currency. So the pound is not going to go much farther than the euro. Like if the euro turns hard, the pound will most likely follow. We're playing the dollar here. This is all a function of the US dollar. So, the pound is in a resistance area, but as you can see, it's very reluctant to pull back. All right. I don't like the pound. It's in a resistance. It's in a place to go short. It's not in a place to go long. The thing is, it can rally another couple of hundred pips up to here. All right. It can get there for any irrational, ridiculous reason. And you can also argue, well, look, this structure is bullish, isn't it? It is. But again, you're fighting a strong dollar, a generally strong dollar. So I wouldn't put a lot of weight on this structure. I would still put a lot of weight on those resistance levels, okay? Until the dollar changes its story. Then, this will become more meaningful. So, I mean, the pound, you're going to have to use a wide stop on the pound, and there's no signal on the pound. The euro actually has a signal. Actually, the pound had something. There was an inside bar here, and then you had this outside bar, and now it's just sitting here, okay? Keep in mind, when something is generally bearish or something's going to reject a resistance, it should not hesitate like this. It should give you the sell signal. The next candle should open lower and it should extend, right? That's something, that's a level being rejected. Does that make sense? The pound isn't showing that. So the pound may still squeeze a little further. I don't like it. That's why I've been staying away from this pair. I had a short in the pound at like, what was it, 112, I think it was. And I got stopped out very quickly on that for like 200 pips. And that's it. I'm like, screw the pound. I'm done with the pound for now. Let's, and it's a good thing. This thing's up 500 pips since I've gotten out of it. Okay. I think I got out at 114 something, I think was the exit price. And what are we at right now? Almost 120. Okay. So respect your stops. Anyway, that's the pound. All right. So I'm just watching that Bitcoin situation here. I think we've pretty much covered all the major markets that I want to cover. All right. So any questions? This is a messy chart. Let me go to another chart. Is that my Bitstamp chart? Yeah, back to the Coinbase chart. So any other questions? This is now you're seeing Bitcoin here on the larger time frame and in the smaller time frame at the same time. The pound and UK LSE markets in general. Yeah, and look, that's why you leave them alone. When they get like that, don't get in their way. The euro is much more tame, and I don't have to risk 200 pips in the euro. I have a 100 pip risk in the euro, and that is a lot. I think that's a lot. Okay, especially for the euro. Average euro risk should be like 80 pips, maybe 60 pips, not 100 and whatever. But that's the environment. You have to respect the environment. You can't do what you want. You have to do what the market tells you. Okay, and that's what I do. Market says, hey, euro has 100 pip risk. Do you want to take it? Yes or no? All right, I'll take it. 100 pip risk. I don't like it that much, but I'll take it. Okay. If the euro had like 200 pip risk, I'd be like, I'm going to find something else. I don't want to play. You don't have to play. All right, it's a choice you have. Okay, so very wiki. I like that, Armin. Yeah. Okay. But again, in this area, it doesn't mean anything. Really doesn't mean anything. It's just all it means here in this area is just consolidating, and the general trend is bearish. So a bearish break is likely on that bigger picture. And 14K is still within reason. Now, I want to say something. When I say something like that, I'm not saying we're going to reach 14K. All I'm saying is it's within reason, and that you should account for it. Meaning, if you're thinking, oh, I want to go long, or I want to start buying, blah blah blah, account for it. Oh, we may get to 14K, so maybe I shouldn't buy as much right now. I want to invest $10,000. I'm not going to buy it all at this price. Maybe I'll buy $100 here, and if we get to like 14K, maybe I'll buy another $100 there. Okay, and that kind of thing. If you want to play it by ear that way, as long as you're not taking any big allocation, this is not the time. So I don't care. It's amazing to me how some really big names and respected names. I mean, look, I'm tiny. I have no real following. There's some big people out there, really big people that have like, hundreds of thousands of followers. And they come out and they say, Bitcoin is at the bottom and it's going to rally from here. And I'm like, man, do they not like, how does their reputation not get thrown in the toilet like instantly? I don't understand, and they're completely wrong. And you can go back and watch their video and completely steered people the wrong way, and people still follow them. It just shows it's a reflection of the irrational nature of people. Okay. I mean, it's just amazing to me how people want to be sold. They want dreams, right? People want to be told that they can take their $500 account and turn it into $50,000 in 30 days. And they'll pay $1,000 for that dream, even though it's nothing but a dream. That's not going to happen. While sure, anything is possible, the risks that you have to take to make that happen are extremely high. And if you, for an experienced trader, can't even make that happen. So a beginner is going to make that happen? Highly doubtful. Okay, but they still will pay $1,000 for a dream that's possible. Okay, and meanwhile, they're just throwing that money out the window, and they're making the fake guru rich. Okay, all of you that watch fake gurus regularly, you realize you're making them rich with your attention. Okay, so I'm not paying them any money. YouTube rewards them for your attention. So your attention is actually worth money. Okay, like for me, you're watching me right now, but YouTube doesn't reward live streaming. So I would have to, there's a process I have to go through to make this a video that I can get a reward for watch time. But these videos, but you'll notice they always say, well, if you watch the whole thing, before I finish the video, I'm going to share a special secret with you. They want you to watch the whole thing because your watch time is worth money. Okay. So you reward them. And that's, you're not going to, just because I tell you to stop listening or watching, you're not going to stop. I can't stop people from, I have no control over that. I'm just saying. All right. I'm just trying to open your eyes. So anyway, all right, I'm going to wrap this. I always say I'm going to cut this off and I don't. You know why? The trade keeps me on here. It's the trade. I want to see how this plays out so I can say something about it. All right, so here's the thing. This long is sort of in play, right? I mean, it's green, but barely. Let's see. So, I mean, that again, that was 650, right? Where are we right now? We're at 64. So it's only like 10 points in our favor. That's kind of lousy. We need another 90 points. Anyway, no reason to do anything here. So let me just take this opportunity here to mention the limit order. Okay. Earlier, right? The first thing I said to you guys, I'm putting a limit order right here. Remember that? And that was when the market was up here. Remember that? So I want to explain that real quick. Why would I place a limit order there? Well, because when the market tries to run away, sometimes, a lot of times it will pull back and test. Okay. And a lot of times you can get tapped in. Now, it's a risky thing to do because this can happen. And I'm glad that the market sold off like that and not worked out, because then you're going to think, oh, I like that limit order idea. This can happen. And there's no way to know. It's a chance you take. Just like when you open an account at an exchange like FTX and you don't realize that they can go out of business and your money vanishes, that's a risk you take. With all of the exchanges, and that includes Coinbase too. Okay, it's a risk you take. So when you put that limit order in there like that, and the market pulls back to tap you in, basically you're betting that this thing is going to find support again because it had some evidence of support previously, and you're going to get tapped in at a better price. But if it doesn't work, you're going straight to the stop. Okay, and that's exactly what we got there. So keep that in mind. That's why I put the limit order in there. I usually, I like to use that with swing trades more, because day trades obviously are a lot more risky to do that with. Swing trades are much more appropriate because, of course, it's a much slower game and there's a lot of noise and it can tap you in at a better price. I use that technique sometimes. So that's how I use a limit order to enter a market. And again, it's a very risky game. Okay. And then you can see why. So, it can go straight to the stop and whatever. So that makes sense to you guys? All right. You got some time to look at altcoins? All right, let's see. Not really. Throw your moral compass in the garbage and sell hopium. My moral compass. That's a nice word. Moral compass. Yeah. Some people have told me to do that. Okay. They're like, well, why are you being so honest? If lying makes money, why don't you just lie? Because it's just not in me. Okay. I mean, look, no one's perfect, but the thing is, I've been lied to and I believed the lies for 15 years. I know where it goes, and I know how miserable you're going to be. I don't want to be responsible for that. Okay. I mean, that's why, and my reputation is important to me. I'd rather go the hard route and just be honest, and maybe someday people will appreciate me more for that instead of selling lies. But man, the quick route, you can make a lot of money lying. Okay. In this game, especially. So something needs to be done about those people. And least I can do is open your eyes to it and make you aware. Okay. But that's just, I can't lie. And plus I'm a CMT. So people don't realize what that means. Okay. If the guy you're following is not a CMT, he's allowed to say whatever he wants. You realize I'm not allowed to say anything I want. There is a code of conduct that I must follow. Every time when I renew my CMT thing, right? Every year I have to renew it and I have to pay them money. I have to sign a thing. I have to sign a code of conduct that says that I'm going to abide by the code of conduct. And if I don't, they'll take my CMT away. I spent a lot of money and a lot of time getting those 3 letters. Okay. So obviously there's an incentive to be reasonable. Okay. They don't expect it to be perfect, but there is a code of conduct. That's why you won't see me come out and say, Bitcoin going to 50,000 by next week. You'll never see that nonsense. CMTs, generally, you will not see that. If you do, then they're violating the code of conduct, right? But any moron that just, oh, I'm a trader. Any one of those morons, they can say whatever they want. There's no accountability. They're not losing anything. If their reputation goes in the toilet, they just change their name and they become someone else. And then they start over again, right? So please understand that. Okay, so, and MIR, okay, looking for shorts. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, I appreciate that. I got to wrap this up, and I can't talk here anymore. Usually this session, I don't spend time looking at other people's charts. This is really just more of like let's look for setups and let's look at the bigger picture and see if there's any valuable pieces of information that we can note. All right. So yeah, it's not really a session for me to do analysis. That's usually on Mondays. I try to answer like one or two, but anyway. All right. So I got to wrap this up. You guys, so let me leave you with this so you have an idea of what to expect with this Bitcoin situation. You know where the stop is. Okay, this thing just closed. The candle just closed. Okay, this candle is not exactly a nice candle because it's a possible lower high. But the thing is, where's this thing going? Okay, I mean, what I wanted to point out too was why would I be taking a limit order in this area when this is so bearish? And I'll tell you why. Because this location right here is not exactly a place to be going short. Okay, that's a failed low area. Now, of course, you don't know that because you don't take my training program, for those of you that don't know, but that's an area where reversal is likely, and that's why I'm willing to take more risks there. Okay, especially if it's a day trade type of situation, I'm open to the idea more of looking at the opposite side because I know what's going on there. And this red candle, do you know what that basically caused? A lot of shorts reacted. Okay, they all got short, and now that short isn't working. So now they're banging out of it, or they're getting stopped out, or whatever. And these are basically these traders get caught, especially the ones that short it right here. They're caught and they're getting squeezed. That is the advantage that I look for. Okay, that's a behavioral thing. There's no statistical, hard fact about that. It's a behavioral aspect. It's a behavioral inefficiency, if you want to call it that. So I'm capitalizing on the mistakes of others. That is what you do as a trader. That's the only thing we can do. All right. So, and they're getting squeezed. So that's the concept behind that. If you took my training, you might know that. So again, here we go. This is a nice candle. Nothing to do here. So if you're long, right, theoretically, you're targeting this area. If it gets there and it closes strong up there, right? Sometimes you get like a vertical candle, just keeps going. Let it ride if you can. Okay. If you can get more than 100 points, see how much you can get. As long as you don't get a conflicting signal. If it tests the area, a lot of times it'll test it. Next thing you know, you get a bearish pin bar. That would probably be a good time to get out. Okay. So you may not have the 100 pips. Maybe you only have 80 pips. Maybe you only have 60 pips. But you know what? You made back the loss from the previous trade. That's how it works. Okay. So if the thing runs, great. Then you have something. But don't be looking for like 500 points. If you can get 100, 150, that's nice. Now, if you had two contracts, you definitely sell one. Right? It's a good idea to just take your profit at 2-to-1. That's what this is, 2-to-1. You take the money off the table if you can get there. You just take it. All right, and then you let that second one, you let it run, and then you wait for the conflicting signal. I'm going to show that type of example when I have the platform up. Okay. All right. So you guys clear on that? Usually I only watch the videos hour. Oh, okay. Well, cool, MB. Yeah, I'm on every day. All right. So I know this is not the most convenient time for everyone, but this is the U.S. market open. So I left you with the plan there for the day trade. Hopefully that works out. People, again, I just can't stop myself. I speak for an hour. These are supposed to only be a half hour. I got to work on that. Anyway, all right, you guys. So you know where to find me. If you have any questions, let me know. Send me an email. Best way to contact me is in the server, in the Discord community, because I check in there a lot. And that's if you need to ask me a question or get in touch with me, that's the fastest and easiest way to get a response. right now because I'm always in there checking stuff, and there's a lot of maintenance I have to do in there. So I'm always in there. Okay. All right, you guys. So again, hey, thank you all for watching. I hope you got some value out of this. Check the links again in the description below if you want to become a member of my community or you want to get involved in my training. I do have bundles. I do have incentives to make things a little easier for you. I'm a big believer in conserving your capital. And of course, my prices are cheap. If you can't afford my prices, please quit this game. I'm probably one of the cheaper guys out there. Okay. Anyway, so enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, and thank you for watching.